Thank you for reminding me because I totally was just going to go right into it. So that's good. That's what you're here for.
I got you.
All right. So, gaming news this week. So we're going to start out here talking about Fallout 76. Got some details on Fallout 76. So the special first, so they released these are the game developer for Fallout 76. These are where these details came from. The special attribute. Now, anyone who's played Fallout 4 or Fallout, any of the Fallouts, know what special is. That refers to all your different attributes like strength. I don't know what P stands for. I don't know what E stands for. But each letter stands for a different attribute, and those attributes are what you use to level up. That returns, like I said, if you've played any Fallout games, you know what I'm talking about. But it's supported by a card-based system. Basically, the way that works is the higher a player's number for their attribute, the more perk cards that they can apply to that attribute. And so this is an example. So this is an example that Chris Mayer, who is the development director of the game, said. So the Gladiator card is a card that increases melee strength, and obviously it can be placed in a strength slot. Now, the 1-point version of that card will boost your strength by your melee by 10%, but a 2-point version will boost it by a higher percentage, and a 3-point version even higher than that, and so on. So that's kind of cool. That's the way that will work. What I thought was interesting is the way they're going to deal with what's called PvP assholes. Essentially, because I just can imagine you've got a game where you're playing in an online space with other players. So I just can imagine there'd be some grieving going on. If anyone who's played GTA Online knows what I'm talking about. So basically, what game director Todd Howard said is that we're going to turn the assholes into interesting content, quote, killing other humans will put a bounty on your head, and the revenge system lets you come back to kill your killer for double the usual payout. So I think that's kind of cool.
That's pretty dope.
So yeah. If you're gonna go around killing everybody, you're gonna have to pay for it, or people are gonna come hunting you down for that dough. So, I like that. Yeah, and I like the idea of if it's a person that kills you, you get double the payout. So, I think that's pretty cool. I'm actually really excited for this game. I was kind of ambivalent about it when it came out. I like the Fallout games. I just wasn't sure how much fun it was gonna be, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think I'm actually gonna have to buy it now. So, okay.
And I think.
No, go ahead,
I think there were a lot of apprehensions when the game style was announced because it's so different than what Fallout usually is.
Right.
But it seems like they're really trying to balance the two game styles of open world and multiplayer with the story-driven games that people like. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah. And it will be interesting to see how the story plays out. Because usually with games like that, that's kind of like an issue is that like the gameplay's there, but like the story framework isn't always there. You know what I mean? State of Decay 2. But it's if we can pull that off, that would be really awesome. So
I love Salty Eddie.
Hey, I love State of Decay 2. I'm just not afraid to admit its shortcomings, and it had quite a few of them. So anyway, all right. So there will be numerous customization options during character creations, and you can change your appearance at any time. So you're not set with your appearance, or you don't have to feel like you're stuck in. You're like, oh my character needs mascara, so you can go back and give your character mascara. I don't know if mascara is an option. That's just the option that pops in my head for some reason. I don't wear mascara, so I don't know where that came from. So anyway, all right. So mods will be supported. Bethesda said they respect the strong culture of the mod support, but admitted it will be a complicated feat given that the online nature of the game. That's going to be really interesting to see how they pull that off because especially the PC versions of a lot of these games, GTA 5, Fallouts. A lot of these games have really strong mod communities. Even Left 4 Dead 2. I remember when you and I and Rambo were playing a few weeks back, and he still had all like his anime mods on. He couldn't even focus on the game.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how they do that, especially since it is an online game. So. So, and then the last couple points about that, I think, right? Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Huggy had a question, says, do you think having co-op in Fallout 76 will make the game short?
Make the game short? Well, yes and no. By nature, games like this have a loop that keeps going regardless of whatever the story is, right? So there's not really ever an endpoint to games like this. So, there's always going to be missions to do. There's always going to be things you can do with your friends. Possibly, the story itself could be short, but I mean, if they're gonna at least give it an effort, there's gonna be some sort of open-ended nature to it. So you can keep kind of playing games with your friends, or it could be some sort of new game plus scenario where after you finish the story, you can start the story over with all your upgrades and all that kind of stuff. I know with a game like State of Decay, it was like you. Oh God, sorry, my monitor's tripping, which is making the stream. Sorry about that, guys. Oh God, stop it! Sorry, give me a second.
It's important.
It's messing everything up. Stop it. Hold on, guys, give me a second. I need a new adapter for my third monitor. There we go. Hello, we're back. All right. So, where was I talking about? Oh yeah, the mods.
Talking about after like New Game Plus.
Or no, yeah. I was answering Huggy's question. Yeah. So, like as in State of Decay, everyone kept their own story progress, but when you would join someone else's game, you would jump in to where they were in the story, and you kept your own story progress. So, that'd be my guess. I don't know. So I know, Duke. I know. Rip. All right. So moving on. It is currently the Rainbow Six Siege free weekend. It started on the 16th and it runs all the way through the 20th. So that is Monday, right? Tomorrow's the 19th. Yeah. So cool thing about that, all operators, maps, and modes are available. That includes anyone who has a game and just doesn't have those operators unlocked. So it's a cool time. Great time to try out some new operators. Free of charge. You kind of figure out what operator might fit your style, and maybe start to put you renown towards that operator. And as far as the modes go, I mean, there's only 3 different modes. You've got secure, you've got bomb, and then you've got hostage. But maybe normally that's not available. I don't know why they say all modes, but all the maps are available too. So if you have Siege or you've been wanting to try out Siege, great weekend to do it. You still got about 2.5 days left to do it, depending on how late you like to stay up. So, all right. So
all night,
all the night.
People sleep.
Sleep? What is sleep?
Never heard this word.
So, all right. I wanted to touch on this. This is sticking with Bethesda, going back to Bethesda, who, among other things, they are the creators of Fallout 76, but. They had some interesting talking points talking about cross-play. So Elder Scrolls Legends, have you guys heard of this game? Either one of you?
Yeah.
Okay. It is a strategy card game in the Elder Scrolls universe. I hadn't heard of this game before this article, actually, so I thought this was really interesting. It is currently cross-play compatible on Apple, Google, Steam, and Bethesda.net. Okay. And Pete Hines said, and I quote, "We cannot have a game that works one way across everywhere else except this one thing." And he went on to say on the PlayStation 4 specifically, we continue to all right. We continue to talk to all our platform partners, but those terms are essentially non-negotiable. We can't be talking about one version of Legends where you take your progress with you, and another version where you stay within an ecosystem or it's walled off for everything else. This is counter to what the game has been about. And I'm going to put a life-size picture of Pete Hines on my wall because that's amazing. I love that. But I mean, he makes a great point here, right? Like, we're not going to make a game where this was the whole point was it to be a shared experience no matter what you play. So we're not going to make it available to a system who's not going to be part of that ecosystem. I love it. And now if it's just talk, if they end up moving, because I mean, at the end of the day, dollar signs are what drive this business. It could be talk, but I mean, I hope they really back that up. I would love for that to be the trend of the first developer company saying like, listen, we're just not going to release it on PlayStation 4. We have all these other platforms. We'll make money on all these other platforms, so you'll just be left out. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, and I apologize if I'm too loud. I'm still figuring out this mic. But so I think it's a good thing because, as everybody's been saying, is the whole reason Sony and PlayStation aren't going into cross-plat is because they're greedy. They want to, hoard games and people for themselves. They don't want to share that playership.
Right.
And by taking a game away from them, you're now taking away players and income. And not that you're taking away, but it's a good kind of counter strategy if really all they're thinking about is, hey, we just want money and that's why we're not going to go cross-plat. Well, you know what? Then you're not going to get games that are going to be cross-plat. And I think that's going to be the first step in trying to get them to loosen those reins up.
Agreed. Because I mean,
You got to
someone's
hit
gotta
them
take,
where they're.
yeah, someone's got to take that first
agree
step,
with all
right?
that.
Someone's got to be willing to take that first step to kind of put your foot and draw the line in the sand and be like, look, like this is not going to happen. This is ridiculous. It's 2018. You can make it happen. You're being greedy. There's still plenty of money to be had for everyone. So, but yeah, that made my heart happy when I read that quote. It was great. So, and real quick too, I meant to say about the last bit about Fallout 76 is actually the multiplayer beta comes in October. Launches for all systems November 14th, and is actually skipping the Steam at launch. It'll only be available through the Bethesda Softworks' own launcher. Kind of, I touched on that a little bit last week. I feel like that's kind of like a trend that's starting to happen now. Development companies are kind of having their own website in order to get the game instead of going through, the third-party whatever. So that's interesting. Okay, so.
Well, again, that comes down to money because when it goes through third parties, they have to pay fees to have it there and sold there. So it's better for the company to have an initial launch on just their platform and then later on bring it to third parties.
Absolutely. Rambo, what's going on, by the way? Nerdy, Huggy, who I'm trying to see who else in here I haven't seen yet. Yeah. Oh, NX750 is happening, man.
And NX, I think subs, dude.
Yeah, he did. Look at that. He needed that Twitch crew emote. That's what's up. Tier 1 sub hype. Diamond Tomahawk, keep your head up, man. Good to see you in here as well. All right. Moving on. So we got some Switch news here. Doom Eternal is getting a Switch release as well. Developer Panic Room is aiming for 30 frames per second once again, just like the first Doom, the 2016 version of Doom that was released. Actually ran really good. I have Doom for the Switch. They had to make some sacrifices, but it is Doom on the Switch. Rest assured, and it is awesome. Have you guys heard of Doom Eternal? That's basically the sequel to Doom that they have coming out. It's gonna be pretty awesome, actually. I had it on PlayStation 4. I would like it on PC because I really dig the new Doom.
That'd be dope, yeah.
All right, so there is some released footage of Super Mario Bros. 3 running on the Switch. It is going to be part of the Nintendo Online service, although it's not included in the $20 a month. You'll have to pay for the games individually, but apparently I think they're probably $2 or $3 or $4, probably something like that. And it will include online play. So it's going to be kind of cool to be able to go back and replay some of those classic games with, the added benefits of being able to play with your friends online, stuff like that. Right. So that'll be really interesting to see how that develops moving forward, to see if people are still going to be salty about them not bringing the Virtual Console over, which I personally think they should. I don't know why they're not. The Virtual Console is amazing. A lot of people have already sunk a lot of money into paying for having those titles and having them available. So that'll be interesting moving forward. So. Moving forward here, some more Switch news. Dark Souls Remastered is releasing October 19th for the Switch. It was originally supposed to come out May 24th along with the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4 version. They were having some issues there. There's a little bit of a delay, but it is coming October 19th. October 19th is actually the date for a couple things here, as you'll see as you continue to listen to my news. They're also, that same date, the Solaire amiibo, who is a Solaire, it's a character from Dark Souls. I don't remember which one. Someone in chat might be able to know that a little bit. But that amiibo will be released the same day. It'll sport 1080p visuals in TV mode and 720p in portable mode, and also be 30 frames per second. Actually, really looking forward to that game. I've never played the original Dark Souls. I came in at Dark Souls 2. So being able to play this and being able to play it portable, I'm actually really excited about. Have you guys played any of the Dark Souls at all?
I've never played Dark Souls. It never really caught my eye.
I would love to see you play Dark Souls. Kill Cat would get into thousands in 2000 in no time. Because, I mean, honestly, it's tough for everybody. The game's just notoriously hard. So, Eisenhorn, what's going on, man? He's in here. You'll play that game with me, Rambo. Awesome. Looking forward to it. So, Musi, have you played any of the Dark Souls?
Oh, heck no.
That's a hard no for music?
That's a hard no? Hard
no.
Okay.
Slot wouldn't be able to beat the tutorials in that. It's that tough. You're probably right, Rambo. That's why it never caught my eye.
No joke. Question: how much is the Switch, and should I get the Switch or Xbox One? The Switch is $299, which is a fancy way of saying it's $300. I would highly recommend it, Nerdy, just because it's portable, and that is super awesome if you have to leave town, if family's watching the TV, or you just want to hang out in your bed and play video games. I cannot let you know how awesome it is to be able to play great titles on the go, portable. I would highly recommend a Switch. That's just me personally. And of the three main systems, it's the cheapest. So, although you could probably get a Xbox One S for probably around the same, but you can't put it in your bag and take it with you somewhere. I mean, you could, but you can't play it like you with the Switch. So, good question though. UK gamers are getting the Smash Brothers Ultimate in a steelbook case. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm super peanut butter jelly.
I have.
I want this steelbook case so bad. They better bring it to us Americans, or I'm gonna pout about it. So that's pretty much all I can do. But yeah, so it comes. You have the regular like Switch game case, and then it comes with like a steelbook that if you open it up, it has like a background of like I think the Final Destination stage. It looks super cool. The nerd in me wants that really bad. So. All right. So now, are either of you, Muzi? I know you are because we're about the same age. But Slot, do you remember a game called Night Trap? All the way back for the Sega Saturn. Do you remember this game, Muzi?
Never had a Sega.
Kind of.
You probably remember it being in the news, even if you didn't. Okay, so Night Trap was a super cheesy like FMV like style adventure, right? And it was super controversial at the time when it was released in 1992, because I guess basically the game you play an operative for SCAT. SCAT stands for Special Control Attack Team. Why they went with that acronym, I have no idea. But long story short, you're trying to save scantily clad teenagers from like a vampire, right? And at the time, it was like senators were like losing their mind. They're like, oh my God, they're having sex in video games and da 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 da. And they weren't. But I can't remember if it actually even got released. I don't know if it did. But the 25th anniversary is coming up, and it is being released on Switch. August 24th.
Nice.
Yes, I honestly am going to buy this game just because it's a piece of history. Just because at the time, I think the senator's name, I want to say Andrew Lincoln, but that's the actor of Walking Dead. That's not it. Something Lincoln. He said that this game will never be released on a Nintendo console ever. And
wow.
I honestly feel like they're doing this just to make him eat his words. And for that reason, I'm going to own Night Trap the 25th Anniversary Edition because it's on a Nintendo console. And that's amazing. So, little piece of history there.
Eddie, do you happen to have a link you could post for the Steelbook? Huggy wants to see it.
I don't, but I can probably find a picture and show you guys real quick. Hold on.
It is really, it's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. If I can spell.
And it's only being released in the UK, right?
So far, yeah. Obviously, that could change. We've got a while until that gets here. Obviously.
Yeah, we could be getting our own exclusive here. It could be different major countries get their own thing. You never know.
All right, I got a picture for it. All right, here we go. Hold on. So if you guys can see that right there. Oh, the overlay's in the way. Hold on.
I don't know which.
Move overlay. There we go. Okay. You see it right here. So that's the outside of it right here. It's got the awesome Smash Brothers logo, and it's a nice black steel case. Open it up. It's got that stage in the background. Super dope. I honestly want this entire thing in my life. It's got the game. It's got a GameCube controller and the adapter. That's everything you need to get started. In addition, I don't know if that comes with the actual Switch console in there. It might. In which case, I don't need all that. But either way, it's really cool. Something tells me that they will eventually release it here, just because hardcore, pretty hardcore Smash Brothers base here in this country as well. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Night Trap, talked about that. All right, Diablo 3 is coming to the Switch. You will have to pay that cart premium of $59.99. It will include Diablo 3, and it will have the Reaper of Souls expansion and the Necromancer class, which I think is really cool. You can get 4 players on one Switch, which I think is awesome. Or you can link 4 Switches over like a Wi-Fi network. That way everyone has their own screen. pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm not a big Diablo guy per se. But I think it is cool that, I mean, because anyone who's played Diablo, right, it's like, it's not graphically intense, right? It's like the isometric, like, weird 3/4 view, and like, it's easy. I'm imagining you'd be able to play with Joy-Cons or something like that. So, you know. Museum slot switch. Did they really? Oh, God. And are the names up there, too? This is amazing. Hold on.
It's
Hold
an
on.
identity
Names
crisis.
are
just wrong.
The first time I had no names, and now, here we go.
It's an
There we
identity
go.
crisis.
Nobody's got a name now. There's no overlay. Except for... There is now. Okay. Awesome. Everyone know who they are now? We good?
Yeah,
everyone know that
Musi.
identity?
I'm Musi Shell.
Okay. Good to see you, Musi. Didn't know you
Good
lived
to
in
be
Cali
here.
now.
Good to be here.
Oh yeah, last thing on Diablo 3 on the Switch, new Ganondorf armor that is unique to the Switch is also coming. That is to be determined. There is no release date yet for Diablo 3 on the Switch, but I believe I read it's coming this year. So another game, a lot of Switch news, man. I love it. I love talking about a system that's not PlayStation 4. So
You love the Switch.
I do love the Switch. I do. Game is called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is being released on Switch. Yeah. This was a Oculus Rift title originally, VR.
Interesting.
A few years.
I've never seen
It originally came out in 2014. I read an article about it. This article said it actually works better on the Switch because it turns into more of like a party game. You know what I mean? Like literally show up at a barbecue or at a friend's house and you guys can all play this. Anyone not familiar with the game, the way it works is that there's one player who has to defuse the bomb. The problem is you have no idea how to do it. You have to have instructions given to you by other players on how to do it. And the cool thing about it is that the instructions are available for free online, so you can like use your phone or you can even print them off. So if you're having a couple drinks and you're hanging out with friends, it seems like a game that'd be really fun. Honestly, that'd be something fun to play at TwitchCon if the game
It's super fun.
is out by then. Yeah, I mean I've heard about it before then. It always seems like something that'd be pretty cool. So, yeah. So last bit of Switch news here. Did I get my pages out of order? No, I didn't.
I need confused.
No, I number my pages like Mars told me to, and it still confused me even more. So, but no, we're good. We're good. All right. So last little bit, game discounts. Woo! Switch game discounts. All right. So Best Buy, Amazon, Walmart, they're offering 25% off, which would bring the price down from $59.99 to $45 for Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8, and Mario Kart Tennis Aces. So those are all great first party Switch
I love
titles
Mario Kart
for
Tennis.
$45. Yeah. That's a pretty sweet deal.
I don't know
If
why
you
I call
don't
it Mario
have
Kart
any of
Tennis.
those or you're looking to own them, good time to pick them up. So, and that concludes our Switch news there. Just got a couple more things here. So we're going to hit on the Fortnite patch 5.21 news real quick. They added the heavy sniper rifle. It does 150 and 157 damage, and it's epic and legend and epic variants. Supposedly the thing with this now, it can now one-shot walls on
Yeah, it does
fabricated
one-shot
buildings.
walls.
So that's pretty cool.
Does one-shot walls and penetrates walls as well, so I think you
Oh,
can
nice.
still cause damage after shooting the wall. But
Interesting.
Don't quote me on that.
Interesting, very interesting. Soaring 50s LTM mode allows a glider deployment whenever you fall from 10 meters or more. And that includes using impulse grenades and bounce pads, so that's interesting. You can kind of glide all over the place.
That's a good thing because in 50v50s, people tend to get bored towards the end of the game and just start shooting out builds from under their teammates. So
Right,
it keeps your
yep.
teammates from killing you now.
Yep, I have died that way numerous times. Yes, I have. I have indeed. All right, so we're gonna touch on a little bit of World of Warcraft right now. Battle for Azeroth is the big expansion going on right now. Anyone who's a big WoW player, everyone already knows about this. There's nothing I can tell you that you don't already know. Luchimite was happening, by the way. So it launched Monday. And what I'm talking about, because I'm not a World of Warcraft player per se, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the stuff itself because I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. But I did think it was very interesting that this article was talking about all the backstory leading up to it. So I just wanted to let people know who are into like the backstory for World of Warcraft, kind of want to know how Battle for Azeroth came to be. There are a couple places you can go to do that. Leading up to launch, there were 3 pieces of the story that Blizzard had used, that Blizzard's using in terms of a multimedia approach. There's 3 3 comics, there's 2 animations, 2 novellas, and a couple cinematics that you can all watch that will all kind of piece the story together for you, so you know what's going on in the background. The names of the comics: Janna Reunion, Magni the Speaker, and then the 3 sisters. Once again, anyone who's into Warcraft, this probably means something to you. It doesn't really mean anything to me. The 2 novellas, A Good War and Elegy, and a couple of animations called Warbringers, as well as the cinematics. Anyone who wants more information on that, if you're super into World of Warcraft or you really dig like that whole backstory, hit me up. I can give you an article. I can link the article for you that has links to all that stuff that I just mentioned there. It's very cool. I'm a guy that loves to get into the lore and the backstory of stuff. So, like I said, I'm not a World of Warcraft player. I think it's a bit too late for me at this point. It's been out for so long, and there's probably so much backstory. You know, but if you've been lost up to this point, because I know for a lot of people that have been playing World of Warcraft, the word is that Battle for Azeroth, how everything's happening, can be kind of confusing in terms of the lead up. So that's pretty cool. So, Bojangles, what's happening, man? It says the WoW books are actually really good. Very cool. Lore is awesome, except I can't read. Oh, well, hey, that's what audiobooks are for, Casper. 2018. All right, so I thought this was really cool. So there's a No Man's Sky player that is going to share 3.8 billion credits worth of gear with random people he finds in the game. All right, that's a lot of in-game money, as you can see. The guy's on Reddit. He goes by Longnose Jim. He built 215 stasis devices. A stasis device, you don't have to know what it does. It's one of the most expensive pieces of equipment in the game. One stasis device is worth 18 million credits. So basically, a stack of 5 of those, if you fill your inventory with those, which can be stacked in 5, that's 3.8 billion credits. He spent 2 weeks filling one of his freighters with this stuff, and he's just going to fly through the galaxy, getting his Willy Wonka on, and just handing off free credits to people. So, Longnose Jim, if you happen to be listening, I would like some of those bunnies, very much so. Because I love me some No Man's Sky, and I want to be rich. So, okay. So jumping back to Smash Brothers, the ultimate mode, someone uncovered what's going to be a possible game mode for this game when it comes out. The person on Twitter, Latarde, I think maybe I said their name right. There's an accent above the E. I think I said that right. Did some homework after the Nintendo Direct presentation, where they did touch on this mystery mode. The image was pixelated though. It had a green background. You couldn't see what the words say. But this being 2018 and the internet and people have way too much time, he was able to piece together the pixelated portion of the menu screen and was able to translate in both English and Japanese that the title card said spirits. Okay. Now this is interesting because if you guys saw the most recent trailer at Nintendo Direct for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's Luigi's walking around in like a creepy castle, right? Like Luigi's Mansion. He encounters Castlevania's version of death, and it literally slashes his ghost out of him. Like it hits him with the scythe. Luigi's a ghost. And I guess in a previous trailer, Mario and Mega Man are getting offed by Ridley. So people are speculating that this new story mode is going to have something to do with you going and trying to retrieve the spirits of these characters or something like that. Could be similar to the Subspace Emissary mode, anyone that played that on previous Smash Brothers. So that's interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I wish I had time to piece stuff together like that. Like, that's awesome. Like, how did he even do that?
Right.
Like, that's a lot. I want to know how long it took him to piece that stuff together. Like, honestly. No Man's Sky, not many sales. That's a horrible joke, Hugh. Because it's not even true. Because it's actually selling like hotcakes right now. But I do give you an A for effort. An A minus. The Castlevania video introducing Simon and Ricard is amazing. Agreed. Although there's thoughts that Goku is coming to Smash, not even joking. You know, and I read about that. The the Japanese voice actor for Goku said that he has not been contacted by Nintendo or HAL Laboratories. So I guess that's the best evidence we have that it's not happening.
But if he was contacted and he can't say anything, he's just going to say, hey, I wasn't contacted.
Unless he's Tom Holland and someone asks him about Marvel, then he'll say all the things.
Yeah, but that turned into Marvel's like greatest marketing tool.
But no, I wouldn't. Yeah. I don't think Goku's going to be in it. It'd be really interesting if he was, though. Unlock Waluigi's spirit. Listen, if there's a way, if this leads to Waluigi being a character in the game, the internet's going to explode from joy. Because everyone is so salty that Waluigi is not a character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Still relegated to that assistant trophy life. So, oh, was the English voice actor? My bad. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you've got Castlevania, you've got Metal Gear Solid. The thing about those games, though, is that at some point they all have ties to Nintendo consoles. The first Metal Gear, obviously, was released on Nintendo. Metal Gear 2. Obviously, the first Castlevania was on the first Nintendo. So, Goku would be a bit of a stretch, but stranger things would probably happen. So, okay, last couple of bits here. If I can make sure I'm on the right page. I am. Great. I'm never numbering my pages again. CSGO is bringing back the MP5. It was included on the August 15th update. Up to this point has been available in every Counter-Strike game, but this is the first time it's appeared in Counter-Strike Go. It has an integrated silencer, features higher movement speed at the cost of some damage and accuracy on the move. Players will be able to try it out in offline modes and in official casual and deathmatch servers. So if you're I know we have some CSGO players in the community, so that's some CSGO news for you. Also, Bandai and Nintendo have a recent contract. Bandai owns rights to Goku and Dragon Ball games. True. I mean, like I said, anything can happen. I would love to see them do that. Why isn't Paperboy in Smash? He could be an assist trophy, Hugh. You never know, man. But yeah, all right. So, CSGO. Battlefield 5 released their trailer on the 16th, which was just a couple days ago. Showcases the vehicle and squad combat that it's known for. It is going to take place in World War II because apparently we're looping all the way back to the beginning now in terms of these shooter games. Game looks amazing. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's all an in-game uses the in-game Frostbite engine, and it looks absolutely amazing. Like it's watching, I'm like, there's no way this is actually in-game footage. The development studios have lied before, but these games have always looked good in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if it actually does look this good. Launches October 19th. Remember I said October 19th would be a date to remember. And the end of the trailer, you get a sneak peek at the Battle Royale mode. It doesn't say much about it. There is a cool shot of like a wall of fire kind of shrinking down in a circle, which anyone who's played Battle Royales knows that obviously is going to be their way of, instead of a storm or a weird electrical thing like in PUBG, apparently it's, what do they call it? God, I can't think of the term for fire, like in war, in like a war scenario. What is it called?
What?
No, like, help me out here, chat. Oh God, what's it called? I can't think of it. Never mind. That was a waste of 30 seconds. I'm gonna blurt this word out in an hour, and everyone's gonna look at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Napalm. Thank you. Napalm. Thank you, Hugh.
Don't give me credit for that.
Hugh, I know I kept you around for something. Thank you. As long as you don't have RNG accuracy with the weapons that made me hate Battlefield 1 so much. I loved Battlefield. Was it Battlefield 2 Bad Company? That was my favorite Battlefield. I really dig Battlefield. I liked Battlefield, and I liked the whole there's vehicles, there's tanks, there's all sorts of shit to blow up and walls to destroy, it's all stuff like that. So, but yeah, the MP7 is still better than MP5. I'm glad they're adding guns, but at least make it better. Can't speak to that, Eisen. Don't play Counter-Strike. I'll take your word for it though. I play Siege, so.
I just learned what it meant yesterday.
I just learned what it meant.
I thought it was Counter-Strike Global Operative. Apparently it's not.
It is not. Yeah, all right. So, and just a quick blurb on Halo Infinite. It is a direct sequel to Halo 5. It's not a prequel or any of that baloney. The 343 Industries who carried the torch of Halo from Bungie, because of course Bungie's doing their thing now with Destiny. They said they wanted to get away from numbered sequels. So it is Halo 6, and it isn't Halo 6. Brand new engine. We haven't seen any gameplay yet from that. But it will be interesting moving forward. I mean, how many of these are they going to make? The fact that they say they want to get away from numbering makes me worry that they're going to be, cranking these bad boys out, at a ridiculous rate.
And they're probably all going to have weird names because they don't want to put numbers on him.
Yep, exactly. Halo Infinite. So, I mean, if you go Infinite, yeah. Where do you go after that? It's kind of hard to, Can we ever get Halo to PC? Why is it not on PC though? Honestly, I don't understand what.
Yeah, I don't get that.
That doesn't make any sense. I know the first Halo was released on PC, right? A few years back. I remember because I remember the mods and stuff were being a thing, but it was just the first one. They haven't released any since then. Is anyone in chat? Do you know? Wasn't Halo 5 a play anywhere or games on the like essentially like Sea of Thieves, where like you can either play it on PC or you can play it on Xbox? Does anyone know? Anyone? Bueller? There are rumors that Halo Infinite is coming to PC. Oh, that'd be awesome. I would not be upset with that. I would not be upset at all. So
That would be dope. It will be on PC. It'll be like Xbox Anywhere, like Sea of Thieves. That's what Hugh says.
Thank you, Xbox Anyway. That was called. Man, Hugh coming through in the clutch today. You must have had your coffee today, man. You're like, oh, you're all over it. I love it. Before I move on to this last little bit about Doom Eternal, one more thing about Battlefield 5. It launches October 19th. Black Ops 4 comes out October 12th. So those two games are going to be in a lot of competition with each other. Black Ops 4 is going to hit the market first. So it'll be interesting to see if that kind of gives them a foothold up. Rambo, have you been playing the beta for that? I know that didn't that start recently?
Rambo's yelling at us that Halo 5 is on PC.
It is on PC? Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I thought I read somewhere that it was an Xbox Anywhere title. I never played Halo 5. I think I stopped at 4. I didn't hear a lot of the good things about 5, so at this point...
I never played Halo.
You've never played Halo?
I used to play it at like my friend's house when we were hanging out. I didn't get an Xbox until I was like 19. I was always PlayStation.
You know, I mean, Halo will always have its place. Halo 2 is one of the best multiplayer shooters out there, in my opinion. But it'd be cool. I mean, I love playing multiplayer in Halo because the pace is different. It's a little bit of a slower pace. It's a little bit of a thinking man shooter. It's not all about being twitched up and who has the quickest flick aim and all that kind of stuff. There's a little bit more strategy involved. So I would not be upset at seeing Halo coming back to the PC, in a big way. So that's pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
Definitely. So then my last little bit here, going back to Doom Eternal. As I was talking about last week, they're going to have that cool invasions feature where you can squad up to go hop into Buddy's single-player campaign as a demon and wreak all sorts of havoc on them, which I think is really cool. So the way the extra lives are going to work in the game, they're going to be in-game pickup, and this is how it is doing the checkpoint system. So after you pick one of these up, what happens is after you die, you keep fighting, the game doesn't end, the screen goes gray, you become invulnerable for a few beats, and you can kind of get your breath and kind of keep it rolling. And the reason they're making it that way, because it's going to be directly tied to the invasions thing, because if 4 people jump in your game and they just start, wrecking your shit, you're going to want to have a way to be able to get a breath and kind of like, because no one wants to get killed time after time after time after time again. That's not going to be fun for anybody, so that's a pretty cool mechanic. And if you've played Doom, Doom's all about keeping the action going, like flowing from one fight to the next, so this is another thing that kind of ties into that. And, pretty cool. So... that's all I got for gaming news. I was going to throw my paper, but I'm just going to have to pick it up later. So I'm just going to put it right here. And
I have a piece of obscure gaming news that probably no one else will care about but me.
Share it.
Go ahead.
Let's see. You never know.
There was this awesome little indie game that I played called Rakuin. And they're going to make a little web series on it based on the story around it. So you'll see me playing that again.
Cool. What is it called again?
Rakuin. Rakuen. It's super cute. It's about a little boy in a hospital going to.
That's awesome.
World.
Oh, very cool.
Anyway, I was really excited about that. So
yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Blast. I know he's off doing things today, but he pointed that out to me because he knows how much I love the game.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Don't bring it up. It's a good game, Eisen. Shush.
And that'll just segue into what you had to talk about anyway, Music, because it's your turn now.
I guess.
It wasn't a segue, but it's your turn, so.
It was not a segue at all.
It was not a segue, not even
she
a little
just
bit.
took over. She's just taking over.
Just take it over. So I want to talk about some changes coming to Twitch. One of which has to do, it affects the communities, and it also affects categories. So they're making 2 changes mid-September. The IRL category and the creative category are both getting changed. They're getting split up into different categories. The reason being is they feel that by separating out the different categories within each of those, it'll make it easier for people to find streamers in that area. So, for example, if you're in creative and you just want to see somebody doing just painting, you can find them more easily. English, grammar, I swear. Or like IRL, if you don't want anybody, like you're looking for a sports and fitness person, you don't have to dig through the people that are just chatting or the people that are just doing like a talk show or ASMR, like that you can, it's meant to make it more easy for streamers to be found. Same thing with tags. Tags is something that's coming along, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But some of the different categories that they're planning to add, they have art, which is for those that will be creating paintings, illustrations, animation, comics, photography. Doesn't matter if it's traditional or digital, as long as it's art, it can be put under the art category. Similarly, they have a hobbies and crafts category, which I thought was interesting.
Interesting.
That's cool.
It's for like if you're doing DIY projects, making costumes, so you're sewing, whatever. If you're doing sculpture, woodwork, Legos, whatever.
Cosplay,
it can
maybe?
go into that
Oh,
category.
that
Yeah,
has some
yeah, that's-
category.
Well, making costumes for cosplay, I guess.
Yeah.
Technically,
I would assume hobbies and crafts like is cosplay because it's a lot of times it's like weird
Mhm.
DIY stuff. Yeah.
Right. Stuff you got to
for
put together
sure.
yourself. Yep.
For sure. Food and drink. Now, instead of doing like if you are a cooking streamer, instead of being creative for the making of said food and then going to IRL for eating said food, you can just now be under food and drink, period. So it's for everything from eating to cooking and everything in.
Cool.
Even culture of food and drinks. So there you go for that one. Excuse me.
Don't die. Not allowed to die on stream.
I'm dying.
It's prevented.
Okay. On stream. Did you hear that? Just on stream. He doesn't care about off stream.
I mean, can't be everywhere at once.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Continue.
Music and performing arts will be another one. So that'll combine all of that: composing, playing instruments, dancing. Beauty and body art will be a category. And let's see what else we got. We got science and technology. So for if you are streaming things like software development, game design, I know there's a few of you out there that like to do that.
Very cool.
Science experiments, engineering, robotics, that will all be under science and technology. Just chatting is another category. I know that our very own Splice is not thrilled about this title. But it's for basically conversations between streamers and viewers. So like when you're warming up at the start of your stream, if you don't have a game up and ready to go, you can use just chatting. You can do it for Q&As. You can do it for like your live vlogging. I think theoretically he could also use talk shows and podcasts, which is also another category. But we'll get to that one in a second. Travel and outdoors is a new category. Whether you're exploring a new city, just hanging out in your hometown. It covers walking and talking. So if you are out and about, you can use travel and outdoors. Sports and fitness will get its own category. Tabletop RPGs will be getting their own category. So for
think that's
those
awesome.
out there, yeah,
comes to
because
mind.
I'm seeing more and more of that.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
Train,
Trey's been playing this card.
Brock.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Brock does some tabletop games for those that like to play D&D. That'll be, great places for that. Special
Very cool.
events will be another category. You'll find big events like TwitchCon, E3, PAX in this category, as well as things like special announcements from game developers and publishers.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Another one is talk shows and podcasts. So we'll be able to still be able to find us, the Crew Talk, under that category. That's not going anywhere per se. They are expanding it though, instead of just talk shows to talk shows and podcasts. For those that feel that they're doing more of a podcast than a talk show. And then ASMR will have its own category for those of you who like to get the shivers down your back because of the miking goodness. One thing I see people kind of frustrated with, and I'll ask your opinion on this here in a sec, is they're now combining all the categories. So all the gaming and non-gaming will be all in that one big browse list that you can go through. And some people feel that that isn't fair, that it'll be more difficult for people to find the non-gaming people because they'll be drowned out by things like Overwatch and Fortnite and Siege and all the big games that get shoved to the top of the list. What are your thoughts on this?
So, does that mean like can you search you can still search individually each thing though, right? So
You can. Yep.
I don't know if it'll really drown it out that much because I know me personally, and maybe other people are different. I don't ever really look at that browse list. I know what I'm looking for either. Usually I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to go find somebody who's streaming Fortnite, who's streaming, creative, who's doing this, who's doing that. and then I look at those specific categories. I never
Right.
really focus on the browse list. So I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference on how people get drowned out, because usually people are specific to what they're looking for. They're either looking for gaming or ASMR or
Well, I mean, like, I guess I don't understand how it works. Now, are we talking about, so there, you've got tags on one hand, right? And then you've
We're not
got,
talking about tags yet. We're just talking
Okay.
about categories. So like right now,
Okay,
what we're
okay.
streaming under is the talk show category.
okay.
And
So
each
the
being
categories and the
technically is a
games will be
category.
together, is what you're saying.
on the big
Well,
list. Yeah.
Technically, every single game is its own category. So there's an Overwatch category, there's
Got
a
it,
Rainbow
got
Six
it.
Siege category, and then the IRL was its own category. Creative was its own category. Now they're splitting IRL and creative into these like 10 different categories.
Right, they're
So
right. They're making it more specific.
So they're going to be all coming up on one list. Like if you go to browse
Right.
categories, it's not going to be like gaming here, IRL here.
Right.
It's going to be like Fortnite, ASMR, food and drink, Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and I think I feel like I'm agreeing with you, Slot. Like I feel like people that know what they're gonna watch are gonna know how to find that, regardless of the system that's being used. I feel like it's gonna affect more the communities and whatnot that use that to keep track of the people in their community that are streaming. Right.
mhm.
I feel like it's gonna affect us as streamers more than it's gonna affect people who like
The
to watch
tags,
the content.
the tags could. The categories,
Right.
that's more of a.
I do see Baggy in chat is saying that he does use browse, so frustration. He likes to know what's popping off on Twitch.
That
So
makes sense. That makes sense.
that makes sense. I can
Okay.
see the benefit to it. It's just personally for me, I've never used it, so I guess it won't make too much of a difference to me. But there are definitely people like Baggy who I guess it will if like that's something that you actively use to look into.
Mhm.
And Kat was asking, Kat Corinne, Nerdy Cat Girl was asking when the updates are going to be there. I believe mid-September, October.
September. Yeah.
Mid-September. Mid-September is what they're saying. There is some speculation that could be pushed back out a little bit further. But as of today, everything I was double checking on is still saying mid-September for both the categories change and the tags change. I know some of you have noticed that the not overlay, like the screen for your Twitch viewing has changed.
The user
Mhm.
interface. Right.
Thank you. That word. Words.
It definitely, yeah.
Anyway,
Hey, I couldn't think of napalm earlier. I'm not saying
It's,
anything. I need to chat something with that. So hey,
We're all scrambled today, I think.
yeah, it's fine. So the reason this is part of that change as well. They're kind of testing it, and you'll notice the communities aren't there. That's because the tags are going to be taking those places. Words are hard, Becky, so hard.
Agreed.
So yes, communities is going away. So we will no longer have the communities page. We will no longer have the twitch.tv/communities/Twitch crew. That's going away. So you won't be able to click and see all of us streaming in one place anymore.
Which sucks.
That kind of sucks.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that we can't still be community. We'll talk about that some more because we'll be approaching things maybe a little bit differently than we have before. So, but let's talk about what the tags are first of all and foremost. So communities was something that they released a year or so ago, year and a half ago. And it was initially rolled out to try to help discoverability of streamers. So if you were looking for specific streamers under, chill streams, you could find everybody who felt that they were a chill stream. Or with our Twitch crew, we knew that it was a group of individuals. And if you've ever looked, and I don't know how many people have really paid attention to the community page itself, but there's actually an about page that you can click on, and it tells you the rules of the community, what type of streamers you can find in that community. And so it was meant really to help people find different communities that they felt that they could be a part of, whether they were viewers or streamers.
Okay.
But as Baggy just posted, Twitch discovered that only 3% of people on Twitch found streams through communities.
That's low, man.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
super
real
low.
love.
super, super low. So they decided this is kind of a fail, and they're trying the tags instead. The problem with the communities is there just got to be too much overlap, and people didn't know what a community, like which community meant what.
Mhm.
Right.
I can see that.
So it was.
Yeah, because a lot of times there'd be communities that had a community page, like us. Like Discord was our primary form of communication, but we also had the Twitch crew page, right, to find out who was streaming. But there seemed like there were other communities that were solely based in Twitch, right? Like Twitch was what they used to do everything, and it was really nothing more than a collection of different streamers that all use this tag, right? Like So I could definitely see how that was confusing.
Yep.
And I mean, they started doing this like last year, or was it a couple years ago?
Like April of last year, I think, is
Right,
what I. So it's just barely a year old.
Yeah.
And Cool Guy has a good point here, because this is true. You cannot find communities on mobile.
They never,
unless you know the
they
site.
never ported the communities over to mobile, so that was an issue
sucks
as
so
well.
bad on so many levels. It's not even funny.
They are working on it. They're making
and that's
slow
something
and
with the
steady
tags.
changes.
They are. This with the tags. It's going to roll out to browser first, and depending on how it goes, they are planning on taking it to mobile as well. So that could be a benefit to the tags in that sense. So that's why they're getting rid of communities. To give you an example too, it kind of backfired in being able to find people in streams. In May of 2018, you could browse Fortnite streams and see as many as 18,000 different live channels in the directory. That's a 6-time increase from last year.
Wow.
So this is why they're looking at changing both the categories and the tags and putting forth this change.
Right.
So it seems kind of big and scary, but hopefully it will benefit reap some good benefits. I apparently am drunk. Somebody told me I was drunk to go home. I think
it was Jonas.
Probably. Anyway, so tags are going to be very much what you expect them to be. There's going to be basically 2 types of tags. One are automated directly from Twitch, so it will be based off of the game you're playing. They will automatically add tags to your stream for you. So again, if you're playing like Overwatch, they'll automatically put an Overwatch tag to it.
Okay.
And then they have a list of pre-selected tags. So here's the thing, guys. You cannot create your own tags for your stream, which means at this moment, we do not have a Twitch crew tag that we can use.
Right.
I know Baggy has reached out because you can recommend tags. He has done that, and he's also shouted them out on Twitter saying, hey, can we please get this done? So we'll keep you in the loop if something becomes of that. In addition to that, so it'll be on your dashboard, on your live dashboard. You can go in and you can put whatever tags you want to add to your stream that you feel are fitting for each stream that day. So that'll be one more step in ways, because if you're changing the game from what you played last time, you may have to change what technically tags fit for it. These tags will be shown alongside your thumbnail, the stream title, and the gamer category you're streaming. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I like the fact that they're giving you the opportunity to be like, hey, this is a thing, and like be able to apply for your own tag. So it cuts down on the oversaturation that was the problem with communities, but it also gives communities that have a decent following the chance to have their own tag. Right. So I think that's good that they're still they're like, we're gonna make the tags, but we'll let you apply for some.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I mean, we can probably assume that that's going to be a fairly long process, right? I'm trying to think of how long it takes for you to get your emotes approved, right? I'm assuming it's going to be like a similar timeline, right? Just in terms of, because everyone's going to be submitting stuff at once, right?
Yeah.
It is interesting though that they are user selected versus user generated though, so that's going to be interesting moving forward to see how that works. So.
One thing that they pointed out in their announcement of this is that the tags are meant to be objective. So We're looking at how some of the self-identification things that we've seen with communities like LGBTQ there's been communities around those groups for self-identification purposes, and those are yet not tagged, and so they're working with some of the larger communities to look at how they want to do that. Baggy's giving me some more information. I know he understands this more than I do. Tags are intended to describe specific streams, not the streamers. This is true. It's about the content, not the person.
Got it.
But that's part of why they're looking at how to do the self-identification stuff. Humor is subjective, so you probably won't see a funny tag floating around. He's pointing out. And I have a list, and I will share the list of current tags so that you can see what all will be out there. And states that are relatively constant over time. Yeah, game modes, characters for creators to apply. So some of the examples of tags that they have decided on so far are things like 3D modeling, 3D printing, AMAs, animals, animation, anime, any percent for the speedrunners out there, auditory ASMR. This is not a complete list. I'm just kind of scanning through the list. Automotive repair, baking, basketball, beginner players, behind the scenes, brewing, body painting, charity, co-stream, comics, cooperative, cosplay. Yep, it is. E3 will be there. Yes. Editing, educational, engineering, fan art, filming, game awards, Gamescom, glasswork, hairstyling, hard mode, history, improv, LGBTQ. They have added that as a
Very cool.
tag. Brain stopped again. Metalwork, MMA, modded, New Game Plus will be one. PB attempts, music performance, pop culture, PvP, retro, robotics, speed run. So you can kind of see how general these are.
Right.
They're general, but they're specific. I like how specific like the art ones are, and even the speedrun ones are, because sometimes people are looking for any percent, and they have to go through. They have to go through all the speedrunners to find somebody who's doing any percent, and sometimes people are just looking for someone to hit their PB, and it's nice that they separated that. And I like the fact that they're separating the art so specifically. Like there's painting, and then there's fan art. So fan art could be painting, but if it's based off of something, like, you know, some people just want to see like art from a show that they like.
Right.
And so, for example, if you want that, you can that with the tags being implemented, you can search for that tag, and it will just bring up all of the streams just for that tag.
Right.
I think they're even, from my understanding too, you will probably be able to, like, if you want to do like any percent personal best attempt, you can do both tags, search for both tags, and find only the people doing those. So I think it's meant to help.
I think it's definitely going to help in the long run. It's going to help people find what they're looking for without having to sift through a lot of overlap and oversaturation, you know, because sometimes I go into creative streams and I'm like, I just want to see somebody who's doing cosplay or like prop making, but most people are doing like painting and drawing. It's like, that's cool, but I don't want to have to go through 12 pages of something
more specific
to find one thing. Yeah. So I think it'll help in the long run. It's just going to be a bit of a change.
Eddie,
I agree. I agree. No, I was going to say I agree with that. I think eventually overall it's going to end up being better to help people find what they're looking for on Twitch. Communities like us will have to find out a way to adapt, but I mean, we really don't have a choice, so we'll figure something out, you know. But yeah, I think ultimately it'll be beneficial for everybody. There's always that adjustment period whenever you introduce anything new. Majority of people hate change or are opposed to change, whether it's good or not. You're gonna get that resistance anyway. So, but I think at the end of the day,
I have to remember, Twitch probably obviously did their research. They didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what feels good?
Yeah.
Tags over communities.
Right.
Like it wasn't like they looked. This communities aren't helping people get reach and growth. What can we do to be better? And I think there's going to be an adjustment period. There's definitely going to be changes as it rolls out, as with everything. But I think in the long run, it's going to be beneficial for most people to get better growth numbers and reach different people.
For sure.
I think so too. NX made a comment about, why basically can't they just add tags and leave communities and do both? I've seen that a lot from a lot of different people. I don't know if it would really help or if it would just continue to be. I mean, 3% is pretty small.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
I
It
mean,
is. And I mean, at the end of the day, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Slide, but
You're
I
good.
mean, Switch has got to make money out of this, right? So if they see anything that's going to affect that bottom line, they're going to make changes to it. You know what I mean? This is kind of what this falls into, right?
For sure.
3%
And
are
then-
using it. It was an experiment they
Yeah.
tried. It's not working, so now they're going to try something else. So.
And then by having both, that doesn't solve the oversaturation problem. The whole thing is communities are oversaturated with too much similar content and similar things that people are like, well, like Twitch Crew and Twitch Kittens is similar type of
Essentially
community.
the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, not that they're the same in any means, but like somebody from the outside looking at that could be like, well, these are basically the same. What's the difference? I don't cares. Not, I mean, that's just how I assume people think. So by having communities, you still have that oversaturation, and then you're going to add these new categories and tags and have all three of those going at once. That doesn't solve the overwhelming and oversaturation problem that people are already.
Streamlining is what they're trying to do, right?
Yeah,
like they're trying to streamline it. So, yeah.
I was hesitant at first when I first thought. I was like, oh crap, I don't see how this is gonna work.
Yeah, I was hesitant too.
But the more I read into it and the more I think about it, I think it will actually be really beneficial. But it just means that communities like ourselves will have to be more creative in how we support each other and how we find one another.
Yeah.
So how I'm going to end, and I want, if anybody has some great ideas as we talk about this, throw them at our faces, DMs, whatever, all of the above.
Yeah, DMs are always open with us three, any of the mods, if you have ideas, anything that you think can help in these changes or just in general, always reach out to someone.
Yeah.
Obviously the first, since we're no longer having the community page that we'll be able to go to see where we're all streaming at one time, that's going to make the Discord that much more important. I know a lot of us will do things like mute the Twitch links channel because it gets hit so hard all the time. But honestly, if you're looking for people who are streaming, that's going to end up being the best place to be because now live does not always work.
Yeah.
True. Yep.
So food for thought, guys. You may want to unmute that channel.
Which I'm just going to chime in on that fact that the live thing doesn't always work because I believe it was Honma who said this and it's been working for me. So I just want anyone who has constant problems, because I did, when have streamer mode enabled, obviously, but also go into your setting, go to games, and make sure the game you're playing display is turned off. Because somehow having that on and streamer mode on, I guess, gets cross signals and it doesn't know if you're streaming or just playing. So it doesn't know which one to display. So it tends to just display the game that you're playing. So just if you tend to have chronic problems, I shut that off about a week ago, and I've never had a problem with my live now coming up.
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Huggy also points out that to remember too that sometimes the live stuff is delayed. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's not always instantaneous. It's sometimes it might take a minute or two. Another thing you can do, and I try to spread the word on this as much as possible. Try unlinking and relinking your Twitch to Discord. Sometimes that's an issue as well. But a lot of times it's something on Discord's end that the mods are baggy or no one can do anything about. It's just Discord being Discord. So.
Yep. Exactly.
But yeah.
So that's one thing to think about, and if you're looking for fellow streamers within our own community or any community that you may be in, Discord will probably be the best way. Social medias will be super important at this point as well, connecting through things like Twitter and Instagram through the hashtags. I've been really bad. Whenever I tweet, I always use hashtag Twitch Crew, but I never do it when I post. Well, I never post that I go live on Insta, so that's not a good example. But using those and getting familiar with how to use those if you aren't, I think will be super beneficial. And I'm sure Slot will have more because she's talking about social media.
Yes, we will be talking about that in just a bit.
So I'll leave that at that as well. Some things I want to point out too. I don't know how many people are aware, but we have been doing community raids. And how this is working is we have some amazing people who have volunteered their time to be raid leaders, and they will randomly pick someone who is streaming from within the community. We gather in this channel, and then once we have a group of people we raid and say hey and
Mhm.
throw love at their faces. We'd love to see this be like a really big hype thing every time we do it. And I know it's hard with work and school and life. That if you ever see it pop up, you can get the Raiders command or role, and anytime that they're doing a raid, will tag people with the Raiders command. So keep an eye out for that. If you want it, I believe it was in the announcements section. You can click on a React role and it will give it to you, or talk to any of the admins. We can give it to you manually as well. And we will also, you'll notice every now and then that it's getting kind of mentioned in Gen Chat as well, that a raid is going on. So even if you don't have the role, if you're paying attention to that, pop into the channel. You don't even have to, like, you can lurk raid. It's totally easy.
Yeah.
Just bring up the page and send it over. So this is something that we can do more and help support our community, help it grow, to keep that alive, that sense of community. Is in the welcome desk. Thank you, Becky. I had a feeling it was welcome desk.
Yeah.
But I think I said announcements. So anyway, brain, obviously not working. Another thing that we're doing a lot of and that we want to grow is having events, whether it's the tournaments or the community game nights. This is a great way for the community to grow and stay strong as well, because instead of looking at it, I have a feeling some of you are looking at it as that we're trying to take away from people streaming that night, pulling viewers from them. That's not the point at all. The point is to get involved as a community and play together.
At the end of the day, this is a community, so we want to have events that we can do together. It's not about taking numbers from anyone. It's about being a community, getting people from this, playing with people that you haven't played with before, and just having fun as a group, as like a group of friends and family and community.
Exactly. And you can all stream, like, if it's harder for things like Jackbox and COD, but like if we're doing something like Rust, or a bunch of us have Dead by Daylight, or things like Golf with Your Friends, or any community game that we're playing as a group, as a family, whatever you want to look at it, you can stream your side of it.
Absolutely.
There's no reason why you can't join in on that. Brawlhalla would be an excellent example. Just because Infinity Biscuit was being awesome and streaming on this channel doesn't mean that if I was playing, I couldn't have streamed my version of it as well. So that's another way to help keep community going. So
absolutely,
definitely be thinking about that. Two things that are coming up that I want to announce, and I'll put a formal announcement out tomorrow. We are going to start using this page more frequently to showcase streamers from within the community. I am asking, this is my plea out to the community. If you are interested in streaming on this page regularly, we're going to start with 1 day a week. So I'm asking for a commitment. And it's not meant to take away from your stream. It's actually meant to help bolster your stream. And this is going to be how you'll stream. Basically, say we pick Mondays, and you say you can stream every Monday from 10 to 12. During that time, it is your time slot. If you are a creative streamer and you have an Etsy, you can advertise it. You can advertise your own stream. We're all working together for the community, for you. And we would like to start with some of the non-gaming streamers. And I shouldn't even say streamers, just for the streamers out there that do non-gaming in addition to gaming, if they do. So we're looking for cooking, art. I will include speedrunning because that's a little bit different side of gaming. Game development, music production, exercise, whatever. If you have something that you're doing that's a little bit different, we want to start with that, just because we are primarily a community of gamers. So we all know that we all game, and the channel is always hosting somebody from within the community, and typically it's going to be a game. So you're still getting that representation.
Right.
That doesn't mean to say we're not ever going to do gaming. We're just starting there, and we're going to build from there. So even if you don't have that, you can give me a holler and say, I'm interested, I want to do it, and we'll get you in when we can, for sure. I'm not saying no. It's not a hard no on that. So shoot me a DM, or any one. I'm kind of spearheading it, but if you want to holler at Slot, if I'm not around, or Eddie or Baggy or whoever, they'll pass that information along to me. So
Of
not
course.
a problem.
Yep.
In addition to that, we will also start doing some charity events, guys. It'll be a great way to do good from within our community and help the greater good of people.
sure.
But it's a great way for us to come together as a community. We can throw it out there on all the social medias. We can work together to do something awesome. So we have things in the works for how to keep the community going, even though we're no longer going to have that little community tag down at the bottom of all of our streams. Just because it's not there doesn't mean we don't exist. So this is stuff to keep in mind. And again, if any of you have ideas, thoughts, whatever, throw them at us and we'll definitely take them into account and see what we can come up with to help better the community best we can.
Awesome.
That's all I got. Oh wait, I do have one more thing. I noticed too, if anybody's interested, I don't know how many of you know this, but Twitch does fairly frequently, they have discovery updates on their channel, twitch.tv/Twitch. And they're actually going to have the people who are working on the categories and tags on basically a week from now, almost Friday, the 24th at 2 p.m. Pacific. So if you have any concerns, questions, thoughts, you can go and hang out there in their channel and they will be answering questions. They'll be explaining more about what to be expected and all of that. So again, that's Friday, August 24th, 2 p.m. Pacific on the twitch.tv/Twitch channel.
Very cool.
I know, I'm just going to build off of this community thing just because Musi already said this, but losing the tag on Twitch doesn't mean we are not a community. Our community does not solely exist on Twitch. We exist in Discord. We exist on Twitter, Instagram. We exist in each other's streams. That tag doesn't mean that we're going anywhere.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And more importantly, we exist in our hearts. So, in each other's hearts. So, let's be honest.
No, it's just very important. I just wanted to reiterate that. I know Musi
absolutely.
already said that. I really want to drive that home.
Absolutely. And before we proceed forward, we're gonna show the future member video for Undead One, who is in here now. You were in here a few minutes ago, Undead. Hopefully you're still in here. Hope you're having a good night, man. But I said it too. Jinx, Maggie, back to something you touched on, Huggy. If I can find it here, so I can say the question exactly. Where is it? Where did you go? I can't find it. Basically, it was to the effect. Oh yeah. Oh, here it is. By the way, how as a community can we show love equally to all the members of Twitch crew? That's a very good question. It's a very good question, and it's a very hard question to answer. Because here's the fact of the matter: we are 600 plus deep, right? Ideally, we would show the equal amount of. We would display or showcase everyone in the community, right? But we can't do that. We don't have the time. We don't have the resources to do that. All we can do is the best that we can, right? And so, and the best way to do that is to, like, for the community raids, to randomly pick a raider or pick someone to raid, right? It's not always going to be new streamer or new members of the community. It's not always going to be veterans. It's literally going to be random. And of course, if it's someone who's been raided in the last week or two or the past couple of raids, obviously we're not going to raid that person again, right? It's going to take some adjusting. It's going to take some patience on your guys' part, but we are going to always continue to do our best to make everyone in this community feel an equal part of it, whether you got here yesterday, you've been here from the jump, or you consider yourself a veteran because you've been here a long time, or because you're always in the Discord, or you're always supporting, whatever. So hopefully that answers that question. And yeah, so I think that was the biggest one I saw while you were talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless
Thank
anyone
you for
has
catching
anything
that. I
else.
missed that.
Yeah,
one.
no problem. No problem. So yeah, so without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and we will we're going to display our video here for Undead One, who was this week's Twitch crew member. So just give me a second to get that switched over.
Got him.
You stupid shits. That was nice. Okay. Up and over the next hill. There's a rock. We stop. And delayed detonation.
And once again, congrats to Undead One, on featured member. Very cool guy, very talented guy. Helped us in the pinch with the last Fortnite tournament to get some overlays together for us. A hell of an Overwatch player as well. And most importantly, one hell of a beard on that guy. Big fan of the beard. So
Big old beard.
yeah. So last we've got Slot, and we're gonna get into some things. Slot, take it away.
Oh, let me get my book out. It's in the corner. So we're going to be talking social media today. I know a lot of people have been asking questions about our social media as Twitch crew or what they can do with their own. I know I've seen Care talking about it a bit, and there's been some questions about what we do with our social media. For anyone who doesn't know, I run most of the social media along with help from Baggy and some other people. I believe it's mostly me and Baggy. So that means we run the Twitter and the Instagram, and we do have a Facebook page. I know people were asking about this. It's not very active right now, and I'm going to get into some of what is beneficial on social media. So, Musi and Eddie, I know you guys both have Twitter and Instagram. Do you guys have one that you prefer to use over the other?
I was originally super heavy into Twitter a few years back. Had taken a break from it. This whole streaming thing has got me back into it. In that off season, if you will, from Twitter, I've been trying to get better on Instagram because, in terms of social medias, I feel like Instagram and Twitter are a lot more popular with our crowd, so to speak. Facebook is it's still around, but I've stopped using Facebook pretty much altogether now. Now it's just Instagram and Twitter. Trying to lean heavier on the Twitter. Just kind of post every day. Right now, it's probably mostly Instagram, but I am trying to change that. That's a lot of words for a simple question. So, sorry.
And Musi, I don't know where you stand on what social medias you prefer. Is she frozen?
Is she frozen? I think she's frozen.
I think she's frozen.
She's frozen, or she's thinking about something really hard.
She's thinking really, really hard. Hopefully we'll get Musi back in a few minutes. But I know we've talked about this between us for a bit, but Twitter is actually the best social media marketing tool anyone has. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Granted, a lot of people are still mad that it's not chronological. That's the problem with Instagram. It's a problem with Twitter. It's a problem with everything.
Uh-oh. Shit.
We lost Musi.
Yep, she gone. Hold on. Let me make an adjustment.
Okay, yeah, she said lost her connection. She'll hopefully be back.
There we go. Continue on.
Sorry, I'm looking at the overlay.
No, I was too. I was like, oh, snap. All right.
So Twitter is actually the best social media marketing tool out there. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's commonly one, more people have it than most other platforms, and ones who have all of them, they're more active on it because it's easy to just kind of scroll through. It's easy to just, sit there when you're bored. There's not a lot of interaction you have to have. It does give you the opportunity, but it's easy. It's an easy app to use. There's not a lot you have to learn about it to be able to use it. You can just download it, and it's pretty straightforward. So people of any generation and age can understand it.
Yep. And
you can link it with multiple accounts. So you can have your Facebook post go to Twitter. You can have your Twitter post go to Facebook. You can have Instagram go to Twitter. So it's really, really multifaceted, which something like Instagram's not. You can't, unless you post your tweets on Instagram, it's not as integrated. So it's easy to integrate with Twitter. It's easy to use it. And you don't have to make long, deep posts. A lot of what makes Twitter good for users, especially gamers like ourselves, is interaction. It's easy to just have a conversation with someone. If I tweet something about, say, like the new Spider-Man game, Eddie can reply to it. That's a conversation. And if we weren't friends or following each other, that's a conversation that can happen instantly.
Yep.
And you don't even need to tag it. You don't have to have any hashtags in your post for people to find that. And that's what's great about Twitter is you could just go into the search function and type in Spider-Man PS4, and it'll come up with anyone who mentioned Spider-Man.
Yep.
And it creates a lot more accessibility for people to get to, and you don't have to create as much content. There's no heavily visual aspects of it. You don't have to take the greatest photos or make the greatest videos. You just have to stay on top of creating your content.
Right.
They say the best way to use Twitter, you want to post multiple times a day, at least 5 times a day, because it keeps you on people's timelines. The way that the algorithm works, it shows you most interacted with tweets, but it also shows you tweets from most active accounts. And accounts that you interact with the most.
Okay.
So I know on my personal Twitter, I don't look at it that much, but the tweets I see the most are from people whose tweets I like or reply or retweet to the most,
interact with
or people who post 15 or 20 tweets a day, because there's so much more content for Twitter to filter into your algorithm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you need to get the most out of Twitter. You want to be as active on there as possible, even if it's just retweeting, because people will see that you retweet. People will see that you reply. It doesn't necessarily have to be original tweets. You could just reply to people. That's what's great about Twitter. It's a conversation, and it allows people to get to know you and your personality and how you are, and if they want to interact with you on your stream or in other places.
Right.
Another key, and this goes for all social media posts, you need to find the best times to use them. A lot of people think now, because things are logical, things that it doesn't matter when you post because people will just see it when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a great mindset to have. People will still be more likely to see it if you post at key times in the day. And the times that most people check their phones are on their ways to work in the morning, during their lunch, and before dinner, and late at night. Those are the 4 key times to post. I know my pinky's doing a weird thing. I can't bend it. Not saying 5. I can't bend it when all my fingers are up. So those are the 4 key times to post. Because, yeah, people who don't drive to work will sit on the train, and that's when they catch up on their Twitter. That's where they get their news. That's where they check their Facebook and who posted on Instagram late at night. Mm-hmm. All that stuff. It's all about finding the optimal times to post. Put your thumb down. I like to do this as 4, though. My hands are messed up. I'm not showing them anymore.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Good job, guys. You broke slot. Great job. Great job.
Tweet. And Baggy did just say it. I'm going to say it again. Interaction. Interaction is the key to being successful at marketing on Twitter. And also interacting within whatever brand you create for yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're going to create your brand for yourself as, say, you don't need to go to somebody who's a Siege streamer and tell them something about Siege, you know? Right. It's not bad to cut, like, variety of people in there, but you don't want to have a conversation about something that you don't necessarily know enough about. Right. But if you want to learn about it and you find somebody who's tweeting about, hey, I'm streaming Siege, or, oh, wow, it's free Siege weekend, can't wait to work on this operator, you can tweet them and be like, what makes that operator so great? Because you don't know, and then that's a conversation. And depending on how you interact, that's a new viewer, that's a new friend, that's a new, however you want to look at it. That's what the that's what the key of Twitter is. And I know a lot of people struggle with finding the times to post. I know that you might have this problem, Eddie, because when you're driving, you know, sometimes if you're driving during a busy time, you're not going to pull your phone out and start tweeting and interacting on Twitter. There are a lot of sites that you can use to schedule your tweets. Oh, okay. You connect it with your Twitter. Oh, we have Music back.
She back.
She back.
I think. Do we speak too soon? Maybe?
No, she's coming.
Oh,
she's back.
She's back. Hi. So we can bring the overlay back. Yay. It happens.
It was waiting for you to finish.
Yeah.
I know the one that I've used the most, I've used other sites and other things that I do, is Buffer. Buffer will queue your post. You can write out your entire tweet, hashtags, links, photos, get the entire thing set, and say, hey, post it at 9:30 a.m., post this at 2 p.m., post this
Oh,
at
nice.
6
What's that called again?
Like,
Buffer?
Buffer. I'll post any links, and I'll post statistics too. I don't have them on me at this moment. I have them all written down in a notebook, and I didn't get a chance to type them up. So it's Buffer, and I will post a link to that. It's really useful for keeping your Twitter active when you may not be able to be on it. Like, I will probably be doing that. I'm going to be going away next week, and I'm not going to have internet access. So I don't want my Twitter to be dead for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably schedule some stuff to keep it active, because it's a conversation as well as activity. We're in an oversaturated world. People forget about things very quickly, and they forget about people very quickly if you don't find ways to keep on people's radar.
Right.
And Chad, if you guys have any questions or you have anything specific that you want to know about social media, please put it in the chat. I'm just kind of talking off of my notes right now, but it's really, really useful. Social media is a key to like promoting yourself now. So let's see, post sites. And the good thing about Twitter is also, I said this before, there's no visual aspects. You can use it for a personal brand. You can use it for a business brand. You can use it for any type of anything. You could just use it for your personal life.
Yeah.
You don't have to have something that you're trying to sell, but it does make it easier for you to interact with people and create that brand. You want to be a streamer, you can make that your thing. And then it'll send you recommended people or searches based on what you tweet and what you interact with. So it's all learning. It's all like what you do on Twitter will decide how your Twitter runs. And because it's the one of the most used social media platforms, that determines the growth and the viewership and the type of following that you get, which all these little things, like whatever, like the tweet you liked 2 weeks ago can affect what your recommended post is today. So it's all these little things that go into it.
Together. Yeah.
And then Instagram is the next one down. Instagram is great. Sorry, I just see this question from Huggy. Is it worth at retweet sites to gain more exposure? I use retweet sites. I use on my Twitter ID at I'm Live RT and at Twitch Share. I've gotten a couple people that come in from there. Those guys do retweet those, so it does help get your name out to people that you may not be following or that may not be following you. But unfortunately, there's no guarantee that those people who see it are going to click that link and go in there. It's just an additional marketing piece and a marketing tool that you can get in there.
Right.
And Ned is saying he's seeing more and more GIFs saying now live on Twitter posts for stream starting, more eye-catching. Yes, I agree with that. I don't know if there's like a statistic or anything to prove it, but I do agree that I am more enticed by videos and GIFs than just still photos or just text.
Yeah.
So you even see that on my Twitter, Slot TV. It's always some type of it's almost always a video post that I try and use. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Videos over photos?
I was doing some research at one point about best ways to tweet and how, things to use. And a lot of people recommend, and I'm actually looking for my notes on that right now as we talk about it. They recommend using photos or videos or GIFs, anything, because if it's just your Twitch link that pops up, people are going to bypass it because they see it all the time. And if it's just a string of text, it's going to get bypassed. By putting something flashy like that with that photo or that GIF or whatever, it's going to catch your eye.
Yeah, right, and that is where Twitter has a downfall, because it is such an easy app to just mindlessly scroll through. Like,
right.
To just sit there and go, okay. I've done it before. I'm scrolling, and then I see something like in a tweet, and it's like one sentence. I'm like, wait, where'd that go? And I have to go like all the way through to find it because I scrolled past it so fast, because it can be somewhat mindless.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons Twitter is so ubiquitous, and it's also something that works against it, because you can have a Twitch account and not have a lot of data on your phone or have a smartphone even, right? Because 140 characters or less. I know they raised the character limit. I get that, but it's still small bites of information that you can transmit over not in a small amount of data. That's why it's so
Yeah.
popular internationally, right? Because people
Yeah,
that might have a lot of money, or you might not have a smartphone, or even a lot of data to use, you can still use Twitter and get your point across. At the same
Yeah.
time, it's inundated with so many words and tweets that it really is easy to just kind of keep scrolling, right? Until
Yeah.
you find something that catches your eye. So
And that's why all the little things that you do that you probably think don't mean anything actually do, because again, if you interact solely with streamers and gaming sites, that's what Twitter's going to recommend to you, and that's who you're going to get recommended to.
Mm.
Did I say that right? I think I did. So
I was following
you may not think like, oh, this like random tweet I liked, but it can affect who you get promoted to and who sees your tweets and all that. And Twitter does do this thing where if someone you're following likes a tweet, if they think it's something that you'll be interested in, they'll show it on your timeline and be like,
Yep.
Musy Shell liked this tweet, and it comes up.
Mhm.
So every little thing that you do, so it's mindless, but you have to be aware of what you like and what you post and what you look at, because it does affect the algorithms that Twitter has. And Honma also has a good point, which is a great feature of Twitter. You can see the analytics on every individual tweet. You can
Yeah.
see how many people looked at it, how many people interacted with it, and I forget what else it includes, but there's really good analytics, so you can see what your reach is, and if you're not a fan of it, you can look into ways to change it.
Yeah.
So that's and Instagram does have that, but only if you're a business page and only if it's a promoted post. So unfortunately, you have to kind of pay to promote the post on Instagram in order to get analytics on it.
Mhm.
But if you do I recently transferred my account into a business page, and I run 2 other ones. And what's really cool about it now is it'll tell you how many views you got on your Instagram profile within the last week.
Oh, nice.
So that's a good way to see, are people coming to your page? Are they staying? Are they leaving? If you got 160 views in a week, but you only got 1 follow, then there's something that's not keeping people there. And then
Right.
that comes back to personal branding and what you can do to create the brand that you want. Instagram, on that hand, is also because it's very, very visually driven. So it's good if you're good at making videos and you can throw together a really cool, like 15-second video to put on Instagram, that's going to get more people interested. You got to, sorry, I'm stuck in my thoughts right now.
No, you're good. Take your time.
So Instagram's more used for like personality and lifestyle of branding, but that is pretty much what streaming and Twitch is. It's a lifestyle, it's gaming, but it is a lifestyle. The visual aspects of your stream fuel parts of it. The auditory, every little thing of your stream is a lifestyle brand and a personality brand.
Right.
And you can bring that over to Instagram, even if it's just grabbing one of the clips that you had from your stream and being like, hey, great stream, come back next time. They used to say that Instagram, you should post 3 times a day when it was chronological, because it would come up more often. Now, because of the new algorithm, I've been seeing a lot more new things that say only once a day should be enough. Which is interesting. I don't know how much I agree with that. I still try, and I think that 3 times a day is good, but again, because it's not chronological, you never know how the posts are going to come up. So the newer things I've been seeing is 1 post a day on Instagram should be enough to get you reach for a day, but you should be posting every day. And between Twitter and Instagram, a key is hashtags. Obviously, we all know how useful hashtags can be for people who are searching for specific games or specific streamers or specific anything. I mean, we talked about it with Twitch. It's going to help to find specific things. And it's the same thing on Instagram and Twitter. The problem with it on those is the oversaturation of hashtags.
Right.
When you go in and see a post that's like, hey, streaming now, twitch.tv/Twitch community, and then you see 50 hashtags, that's not content. That's just trying to get people to see your post.
Right.
You want to find the hashtags that describe what you're streaming, who you are, and what, like, something that'll make people come in there. You don't need 50 hashtags. 50 hashtags is not going to get you any more viewership than 6 really, really methodically chosen ones.
Right.
There's so many. You can hashtag anything, obviously, but the more you think about what you're hashtagging and how you're using them is going to actually get you more viewership, because people aren't being so deterred when they see 75 hashtags versus a few.
Right.
The cool thing with Instagram is you can actually use hashtags in the comments, so they don't have to clutter your initial post. You can make your post like, hey, streaming Sea of Thieves tonight. Here's my link. And then you can go into your comments, and they're still searchable the exact same way as using it in a regular post.
It picks up the thread then.
Yeah, and that's another thing, is it's about interaction, because by having a comment on your post, even if it's from you, Instagram just sees a comment, it becomes part of the algorithm and says, okay, people are commenting on this, we should move this up. So it's kind of a double thing that to help get your profile out there. But you can do it and just, drop your whatever hashtags you want in a comment, and it doesn't change the way that people can find your profile through hashtags. Which is really cool to keep your posts less cluttered, but still get that searchability.
Awesome.
And the same thing I
That's
said.
a good question.
Oh, what is it?
That goes along with that. How many hashtags is appropriate?
I try not to use more than 5 or 6. I think that's about the average number from what I read over the week, and from personal experience, about 5 or 6. Because after that, people will just start seeing hashtag. It becomes repetitive, and you don't have to see Twitch stream. I've done this and I still do it because I get caught in my head, but Twitch streamer, Twitch affiliate, Twitch live, Twitch this, live now, gamer, this is the game I'm playing. Those all kind of correlate to the same thing. So you don't need 7 hashtags to describe something that can be done in one. So it comes back to choosing the right hashtags for you. And everybody's going to have one specific to them. I may choose to use Twitch affiliate. Eddie may just use live now. But at the end of the day, those are going to get very similar exposure, because those are both used for people to find somebody who's currently streaming or somebody who's promoting their channel. You get the same kind of benefit without having to layer so many hashtags and overwhelm people.
When you hit more, and it's just like, bam, it's like a whole paragraph of hashtags. Like, bro, that's way too many.
And if you really look at those on most people, it's almost always tags that describe the same thing in 10 different.
Yeah, it's like, or they're taking a single tag and almost breaking it up to try to make it more specific. Like Twitch streamer, then Twitch, and then streamer all be 3 different hashtags, right? But like you said, you're talking about the same thing. Like you're just and I get why people do it. You're almost trying to cover all your bases. Like I know I've been guilty of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we all have. I've done
especially when it works every once in a while. Like if I do hashtag Twitch, I've gotten a number of followers that way, just because Twitch is a super easy thing to search for. But at the same time, it's you got to understand where are you going to be at in that list if someone's searching by the Twitch hashtag. You know what I mean?
Baggy's saying he just read a site that says 11 is considered the optimal amount.
Seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. I mean, like I said, I don't study this. This is something I've just learned to do over time. So these are things that I've figured out worked for me and worked for other things that I've worked for. 11 could be good, but again, you don't want them to be repetitive. So if you're going to use 11, you want them to be 11 individualized hashtags. You don't need Twitch streamer, gamer, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Pirates, this, that,
hashtag C, hashtag of, hashtag thieves.
Yeah. So if you want to do 11, you can do very chosen ones. And it's all about marketing. That's what social media really is. A way to market yourself, whether it's your personal life, a brand, whatever it is. And if people just are overwhelmed by the amount that you're kind of pushing at them, it's not going to create something that people want.
Right.
And again, I said it with Twitter, but I'll say it again. Target times are everything. You want those early mornings, mid-afternoons, evenings, and then late nights. And all those work for different time zones too, because think of, for me, if I post at 1 a.m. or something, that most people on the East Coast are probably asleep unless they're like work nights or night owls or whatever. Because I'm Pacific time for everyone who doesn't know. But at the same time, that can get you reach across the globe. Like, people in Australia are still up. I've had quite a few Australian people come into my streams because it's late at night. I've also found people like that because I go looking for streams late at night. Right. So it's a good way to grow your brand.
There you go.
Outside of just the continental US or whatever you think is like area.
Yeah.
So different times make different impacts. And then it also affects different ages. You have more adults looking at their phones at like 6 a.m. Eastern time because they're on the train to work or, whatever it is. Whereas you may have more teenagers looking at their phone 3 o'clock Eastern time because they're getting out of school. And it's like, oh, what did I miss for the day? Because we know kids don't use their phones in school, right?
Of course not.
They would never look at Instagram in school.
Especially not at lunchtime. Why would they do that?
No, never.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of thing. Different times hit different demographics. So that's another thing that comes with branding. You have to decide what you want your demographic to be. Do you want it to be teenagers? Do you want it to be young adults? Do you want it to be adults? Do you want it to be some kind of mix? And then a mix is usually best.
Right.
But, if you want to target teenagers and younger kids, you also have to think about, what do you post? How do you talk about it? Cut back on cursing or like inappropriate language and comments because you're going to have kids watching. Whereas if you want to gear towards like young adults, obviously you still want to keep it somewhat clean, but you don't have to be as aware of it and you can present yourself slightly differently. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys have opinions on that? While I figure out what I'm talking about.
No, I think great.
Yeah. Please, Music, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
I can't find my second page.
Thinking about it, it's like I've read and I've like this all makes sense, but it's something that I know I'm really bad at. So I'm like sitting here thinking, okay, how could I improve? But it totally makes sense to be hitting like those key times and making sure that the hashtags that you're using, instead of being, as you said, repetitive, making sure they're all relevant. I mean, there is benefit to that short but sweet mentality. Don't overload the people with all this stuff in the hopes that you're going to gain everybody, because you're just probably going to turn them off more than you will be like, oh, hey, here's somebody I want to go see.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a tweet I saw like 2 or 3 ago. I couldn't find it for this, but I'm going to try and find it again. It was somebody talking about, and he wasn't like a partnered streamer or anything. He, affiliated, but had a decent social media following. He was talking about how he can't stand when there's more hashtags and content in your post. Yeah. You do want to avoid that. And I know I said it already, but I'm just going to reiterate it. You want your post to be mostly your content and then a few hashtags at the end. Because if it looks like it's more hashtags than content, it looks like maybe you don't know how to create your content.
Right.
It also feels like you're begging in a way to me.
Yeah.
It's like you're just grasping at every possible thing, hoping and praying that somebody's going to connect on that. And I'm like,
yeah.
Personally, it's a turnoff.
Yeah.
So it's sorry, Eddie.
No, I was just going to echo those sentiments and say that, I think definitely posting at that time of day, certainly. And I think another thing is the time of the year too, right? So like we're coming out of summer now, which means a lot of kids are going to be back in school, both, young kids, teenagers, and, young adults, maybe college age. Point is they're probably going to be waking up a lot earlier than they normally would during the summer, where they're probably waking up at 3 p.m. because, it's summer, and that's what I would do if I didn't have a job or any real responsibilities. So, I mean, I think that's something to keep in mind, too. I always feel like In the short experience I've been streaming, I haven't been streaming for a year yet, but it does seem like in the winter it's a lot easier to get people on social media and to get people on Twitch because you're sitting at home in the snow, you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean. So I feel like that's something, the demographic, the time of day, and maybe even the time of year, I think are all things you can kind of roll in that ball of decision as to, you know, what you're posting. So.
And being able to adjust to those times of years and being aware of it is really key as well. Like you said with school, but you also think holiday season.
Yep.
Most people aren't sitting at home on their phones or their computers during Thanksgiving. They're spending time with their families, most people.
Right.
So posting early, like 7 times a day, may not be as effective at those times of the year. Same thing with Christmas and whatever other holidays there are. So it helps to be aware of what's going on throughout the year, season changes, holidays that come up, and how that affects people's use of social media. Right. Because it affects how you're going to use it if you're using it to promote and market like most of us do as streamers. And I know I mentioned this before, but I'm going to dig into it a little bit more. Integrating sharing platforms. As I said, Twitter can connect to pretty much anything and everything. It's great for that. Instagram is good because you can connect it with your Twitter, your Facebook, Tumblr if you use it, whatever. I think those are the only 3 sites that you can connect it with. And it's good because you can share whatever photo post you make directly to those platforms. And it's good for sharing Instagram to Facebook in my experience because it'll post the photo, not just a link. So people on your Facebook feed will see the same photo and not necessarily have to go to your Instagram.
Yeah, that's why I don't like, because for a while I was doing Instagram to Twitter, because in my head I'm like, okay, I'll save time. I can post on one social media, it'll post to both. But when you do that, it only posts a link to your Instagram account when you do that. And like, I don't know anyone else, when I see that, I'm just going to skip it. Like, I don't want to click on another link to show me the content. You know what I mean? Like, show it to me. So I've tried to get in the habit of, and it takes more time, but I do an Instagram post and I do a Twitter post. Like, I treat them as 2 separate. You know, I might post on both of them at the same time, but they're 2 manual posts, if that makes sense.
That's usually what I do as well, is I will pick a photo or a video that I'm going to post, and I post it to Instagram and share that post to Facebook. And then I pick the same video. So it's the same content. It's uniform content. Right. You don't want to overwhelm people with too many variations. Sometimes I change the caption, but it's usually the same photo or the same video or the same something. So there's a uniform to it. Yep. So if somebody saw it on Instagram and then they see it on Twitter, they know. They're like, oh, I saw this already. This is what it is. Okay.
Right.
So definitely always integrate whatever platforms you can, because that will help grow your reach as well. You always want to, even sometimes if you don't have time to make a Twitter and an Instagram post, it's good to have your Twitter and Instagram connected, because you could just share it to both. And it adds an extra link, but it also gets people to another profile of you.
Yep.
So there's everything in social media has pros and cons. And then I'm going to get back to Facebook now, because I know people are asking about ours and why it isn't that active or what is going on with it. As I said before, the 2 best things to use are Twitter and Instagram. And for streaming, YouTube. I don't know much about it. I don't have it on here. I tried to look into it, but I can talk a little bit about it, just not terribly much. Facebook is really good for things that have followings already. Back in like 2008 and 2009, pages were the life of the party on Facebook. I remember going into every single thing, every show I ever watched, every artist I ever listened to, I'd be like, follow this page, follow this page, follow this page, like this page. Because we used it for updates, because we didn't have a lot of other things. Now it's not so much used for that. Facebook tends to mostly be used for brands that have a good following or personal life. And there's not really a great balance between the 2. Like, I barely use Facebook.
Same. But
anytime I go on there, I don't look at branding. I don't look at brands. I don't look at artists. I use Instagram and Twitter and Tumblr and all these other platforms. So that's why, for me, I haven't put a lot of focus onto our Facebook page. Not that there's not a community out there, not that there's not growth. There's just I feel like, and I know we've talked about this, Eddie, Musi, Daggy, all of us, there's more potential for Twitch Crew on more interactive platforms, because that's the other thing with Facebook. It's not wildly interactive. It's more for sharing something, showing, hey, we have this. Hey, we have this. You don't, unless you have a really big following on there, you don't get a lot of crosstalk,
Right.
which you do on Twitter and you do on Instagram.
Right.
And I think too, something that keeps people from interacting on Facebook pages, especially something like this where we all know each other by our internet
Handles.
names. Facebook, we'd have to divulge basically our real names, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. So I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Absolutely. I know don't like to know anyone's real unless it's part of their like Twitch handle.
Same.
They don't like to know. They just like to know these people as streamers, and that's it. They don't want to know anything else about them. And by integrating with Facebook, unless every person has like their own Facebook page for their Twitch accounts, it takes some of that anonymity. I can never say that wrong.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
You're using anonymity.
And honestly, I
Phenomena.
think, I mean, he was joking around, but he brings up a good point. Is that
Yeah, I was about to say that
Facebook
next. Absolutely.
skews a lot older. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm 35, so when I was in college, Facebook was a hot thing, right? Because at that time, it was only you had to be
It was
in
only
university
college
to have it,
students.
right? It started at Harvard, obviously, where it was created. It moved through the Ivy Leagues, then eventually it started to filter through to like other campuses, right? So at the time, and it was the first thing like it, right? I mean, at the time, it was the hot thing to do. Now, these days, Facebook skewers either A, a lot older, or B, a lot younger. Like, my parents have Facebook accounts, right? My parents are in their 60s, right? Or like a lot of kids, sometimes that'll be their first social media platform as a tweener because their parents can monitor it. They know
Exactly.
Facebook, all that kind of stuff. You've got relatives, I only use Facebook to share pictures of my kids at this point, right? For relatives to see them. That's pretty much all I use Facebook for. So if you're talking about something like Twitch, which has a wider audience, but the majority of our teenagers and young adults, let's be honest. So that's something to take into account too, is that these people, those demographics don't use Facebook, right? Or if they have Facebook, they're rarely on it because they're using Instagram or they're using Twitter or they're using Snapchat or whatever have you. So
I agree completely. I always joke about this. My Facebook, if you ever look at like on this day memories, it'll be like, okay, last year you made these 7 posts, 2 years ago you made these 6 posts, and then nothing. And then it's like 8 years ago you made 1 post.
Yeah.
I had the account the whole time, but I didn't use it for 8 years. And it's very common. Like, I feel like that's a very common thing about younger people.
Becky, I'm laughing at Becky's comment. They're talking. People are.
I was going to bring up MySpace next, actually. Current marketing, but in the terms of something that was really good for promoting yourself, I found a lot of bands that I still listen to
Same.
that I even interacted with when I used to do photography stuff through MySpace. Like, I got a lot of my first photography, like photo jobs in music through MySpace. It was great. Now, no. It doesn't have that same thing, and that's kind of what happened with Facebook.
Yeah.
For a while it was really good for that, and then other things came out that were better. And now Facebook just isn't where you go to grow. It's where you go to promote. Right. And that's another thing I was going to say. Facebook can be really good for growth, but mostly only through paid ads, which I know most of us don't have the money to pay for what Facebook wants in how expensive their like promotional deals are. That's the biggest way to get your stuff out there without having to spam it, without having to like beg people to join it. It's promotional posts, paid promotional posts, which are great. There's nothing wrong with those. I know Instagram is owned by Facebook, but it's a little bit cheaper to do paid posts on there than it is on Facebook. And even then, I know when I see like promoted posts, like on Instagram, it doesn't bother me so much because it's usually pretty well tailored to things that you're interested in. Like, I get promoted posts for Castle Rock every day.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. But on Facebook, it's just like anytime I see a promoted post, I tend to scroll right past it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I'm guessing you guys are similar as well.
Yeah, they've kind of become so mainstay now. Like Reddit has them, promoted posts, Twitter has them, Instagram. It feels like every social media or aggregate site you use has some form of it now. So
Right. I'm just gonna comment because I know Hugs was joking here, but he says I have $5 right now. I want to buy an egg. I know it's a joke, but actually on Instagram, if you go to promote a post, you can set your budget on how much you want to spend, and it'll break it down on what you can get.
Oh, not bad.
So I've only promoted a post on Instagram once, but I thought that was really cool. I set a budget of like $20. I was like, I don't want to spend more than $20. It was like you can advertise for 4 days or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the exact analytics, but yeah, so that's really cool about Instagram. If you do want to pay for posts, if you only have $5, set your budget at $5. If you can't do it, you can't do it, but it'll break it down as to what you can get for what you're willing to spend. And it's one of the few platforms I see that does it that way, because Facebook is pretty much a set thing. It's pretty much like, hey, you pay this much, we promote you for a month, and then that's that.
Right.
Whereas this is, you have, and the cool thing about it as well is you can stop the promotion at any time on Instagram. So if you are paying for a promotion and after like 3 days, you already got what you wanted out of it, you can stop it and it'll stop charging you. It only charges you per day. So if you set your budget at $20, but you only use 12 of that 20, you can stop it and you won't get charged for the rest of it. So there's like really good flexibility with paid promotion on Instagram. So if you were to pay for promotion, I would say Instagram, just because of how user friendly it is, and the ability to, and you can pause it too. You don't have to stop it. If you want to pause it for like 4 days and then bring it back, you can do that, and then it'll just start charging you again once you reactivate the promotion.
Very cool. Very cool.
yes, Hugs. Really, you can really do that. I was, when I saw that. One of the benefits of Facebook, though, back to Facebook, it is one of the few platforms that isn't fully chronological, but is the most chronological compared to Twitter and Instagram. You tend to see things more from that day, whereas Instagram, sometimes you'll see things from 4 days ago. And I actually that reminds me, I want to touch on something with Instagram after I finish talking about this point. So yeah, Facebook is the most linear platform, and that people say that's a benefit. As long as you're active on other platforms, I don't necessarily see that as a benefit, because there are ways to use the non-chronological formats to benefit you. As I said, with Twitter, posting 4 or 5 times a day, with Instagram, posting at the right time and getting interaction with your post will get it higher up in viewers. But back to the chronological thing. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I didn't make notes of everything I wanted to say. Coming back to me. Instagram stories are actually a really good tool to use, especially if you're using it to go live, because of the fact that Instagram is non-chronological in post. Unfortunately, sometimes people will see the post that you make like 2 days later. Like, you're not still live 2 days later, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a downfall. But stories are still chronological. They will always be. Okay. There's no way you can really make it non-chronological. So, because they update as they're posted. So I tend to always try and make a physical post and a story post, because then if somebody opens Instagram and they see, oh, so-and-so posted a story, or Twitch Crew posted a story, what is it? And says, hey, live with Crew Talk right now. Yeah. You can judge it, be like, okay, well, that was 6 hours ago. They're probably not still live. Or that was 10 minutes ago. Oh, crap. I totally forgot the Crew Talk's live. Let me go.
Right.
So stories are a really good thing to use, especially with time-sensitive things, because it's more likely to get people to see it. And yeah, and I know Honma was talking about analytics, and a couple other people were. If you want to be able to get analytics on a link, you can use Bitly, bit.ly. It shortens a link, but I believe, if I am correct, they do provide analytics on that link. How many people click it, how many people interact with it. So that way you can actually see, if you want it, how much interaction your links are getting. So that's a good tool to use if you want to focus on the analytics. which there's
Yep.
pros and cons to that as well. But it definitely helps if you're trying to figure out what it is and what your interaction is with people and be able to troubleshoot if it's not where you want or what you want. So that's
Right.
just a good, and I'll be posting all the links and stuff that I've been mentioning in resources later tonight. So you guys don't have to memorize them. I do have them
Awesome.
away.
Sweet.
Just going through. So I kind of touched on most of this. I'm going to talk about creating a brand is key to also social media. As I said, it depends. It determines what kind of people are going to come to your stream. You know, if you have like a trolly personality, which I know we all think is a bad thing, sometimes it's really funny to just be able to like rib on people and make that your thing. But you also have to realize that's going to bring a lot of people with similar personalities, and some of those may be more toxic. So if you're okay with that, if you're somebody who can handle it, and that's great. If that's what you want your personality brand to be, that you can have a lot of fun with that. But the key to branding is you want to enjoy what you're creating,
Right.
especially as a streamer, because we're going to see how you react on stream. We're going to see how you handle. If you create this brand of like, I'm the most positive person ever, and then you're just angry on stream, like raging at your game, it's not gonna, the people who come in to
Doesn't
see
line
like
up. Yep.
doesn't line up. You need to be able to have something that lines up with you naturally. I know who we are on camera is never going to be who we always are, so it's a little bit of iffiness.
Mhm.
And I think this was talked about last week, so just to touch back on that, it's true. But you can create something that's very close to you or as a person, it'll feel natural and people will feel like a person and not like a robot
Right.
just like
Or
trying
fake.
to put something out there.
Yeah.
Fake, exactly. You want to be like a real person. You also need to understand what you're putting out there and what that will bring in. A good thing to have is always an icon or a logo or something original to you, because then if people see it, they don't need to see your whole name to know it's you.
Right.
That's always a really good piece of marketing and branding yourself, and that goes into social media because you can share it.
Yep.
You can make it your Twitter logo and your Twitch logo and your all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
So these are all little things that help grow you as a streamer or us as a community, and then later on down the road help make your social medias look a bit more professional and a bit more clean and formal while still being people.
Right.
Muse, did you have something you were going to say?
No, it's making
okay.
sense. Like the
Yeah.
more we talk about it, it's like totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of like little caveats to social media. Like I said, I didn't study this. This is stuff that I learned over the years of doing photography, because I had to use social medias to get out there.
Right.
So, and they've changed a lot over the years. So I'm still learning a lot of the, but it's
Makes sense.
overwhelming because it seems like there's a lot, and there is, but a lot of it is the same from platform to platform. The ideal times to post are the same no matter what platform you're using. Creating original content is the same no matter what platform you're using. Uniformity is the same no matter what platform you're using. There's little caveats that are specific, which I kind of talked about all night tonight. All night, you know what I mean? You know, Twitter, you want to be more active. You want to interact with people. You want to have conversations. Instagram, people don't go there necessarily for conversations. If you want to reply to people's comments, you can. That's cool. But it's not what people are there for.
Right.
Whereas, like, if somebody replies to your tweet asking you a question and you answer, people will be like, okay. Like, you know, it kind of creates this, you're not good enough I'm not good enough for you to answer. You don't want that. You want people to see you as friendly and welcoming.
Right.
And that's how you get kind of people in there. And I'm done rambling. I think I've hit everything I tried to talk about tonight.
Awesome.
That's great.
You should
That's a
try
lot of
numbering
stuff,
your
but it's
pages
great.
next time. It might work.
I've only got 2 pages, but they got stuck
Nice.
together. So that's why I couldn't find the second page.
What were you saying, Muzi?
I said, coming from the man who says he's never numbering his again.
Well, you know, just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for someone else. Just
I mean,
throwing
they're in a
ideas out there.
notebook. It's literally just 2 pages. They just got stuck together. So there was a page in between, and I got really confused as to where my second page went.
It's awesome.
Oh, I wanted to touch on YouTube really quick. I don't use it that much. I'm trying to get more into it.
Same.
I know a lot of streamers use it to find highlight clips and then post to YouTube because a lot of people who stream tend to also have YouTube. That seems to be a common thread. And if you can create good YouTube content and create a good highlight video, or you get a good like assortment of clips. Sorry. It can kind of, people will look at it and be like, oh, you know what? I really like that highlight video. I should try and capture.
Right.
That's about all I can talk about when it comes to YouTube. I know that that's kind of what streamers use it for. Sorry to spill something. We're good.
Was it on electronic?
No, it's on my
That's
carpet.
good. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good then.
And yeah, I think that if anyone does anyone have any questions about not just social media, about gaming news or the changes to Twitch and communities and all that stuff?
And a quick hi to all the people that came in here. I didn't get a chance to say hi to. Rogue Doritos in here. Pack Base is in here from his dorm room. Hugh, you've been in here for a minute. It's Johnny. Dat Guy Hugs. Harry Wizard Gaming. Harry, good to see you in here because I know you with your work schedule, dude. It's always hard to do.
Oh, so, yeah. Hi, Harry. I didn't even see you.
Yeah, good to see all you guys in here. The cool guy as well. You've been in here for a while as well. Shanzi for the win. You are in here also. What's happening?
Hey, Shanzi.
So, but yeah. Any questions, guys? Any comments on what we've been talking about?
Well, people are forming questions and all that. I do want to throw a reminder out since we do not have Miss Mars with us. Tonight, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time is the cutoff for signups for the Rocket League tournament.
Oh, yeah.
If you do not have a full team, sign up anyway. Mars will do her best to get you teamed up with someone. But yeah, once cutoff's done, it's done. And then the tournament will be next Friday, 24th at 9 p.m.
And if it'll be the 24th at 9 p.m., if anyone is interested in casting it, please let any of the mods know. Let Mars know, Train, me, Musi, Eddie, Baggy, doesn't matter. Let any of us know if you're interested in casting it because it's fun.
Yeah.
My sales pitch there.
We're trying to get more people integrated with the community goings on, not just the mod, not just, admin people, any of you. So if you got a talent for casting or something you want to get into, hit us up. We'll see what we can do. So. Anyone's free to join me, aka the winning team for the tournament.
You asked if can you take care of my social media? No, I have too many pages that I run.
That stuff.
I don't even know what social media I'm on.
And Hugh, I don't believe you won. You're full of lies.
Eddie, you want to talk about movie night?
Oh yeah, movie night is this Sunday. That was weird. Did anyone else see my light just flicker? Okay. It's fine.
No, I was looking. Sorry.
Movie night is this Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are watching the thriller 7, starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. We were supposed to watch that last Sunday, but everyone started talking John Wick, and I got all John Wicked up, and that's what we ended up doing. So back to the schedule. That will be not a double feature, just a single feature, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to see you there. And Hugh, stop playing with my emotions. So.
This Sunday, correct? He was asking
Don't
this
answer
Sunday.
any of his questions. He is just trolling. Don't feed the
But
troll.
also for other people, it is Sunday the 19th. It's tomorrow.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Sunday the 19th. So yeah.
Hugh's never going to show up to movie night. So
no, he literally never is going to show up. If he at this point.
Well, if we ever watch Bug's Life or Air Bud, maybe he will.
No, he won't. He'll say that he'll be there, and then he'll say something came up the last minute, just because
like
that's
a flooded building.
So yeah, like a flooded building. Exactly.
Oh, Huey boy.
I tried watching you. Yeah, I actually kind of believe that you said you're on your phone. I will give you that. It's a pretty good excuse, though.
The phone app for Rabbit is not.
And I've heard that before.
Unless you have the patience to deal with it, definitely try and watch from a computer. I watched from my phone once, and I will never do it again. Because
Right.
anytime your phone goes to sleep, it kicks you out of the room.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. A spare in the butt.
And this was back when Eddie didn't have open to friends room. So every time my phone went to sleep, I had to ask him to put it back in.
But
And
yeah,
Eddie's not
so-
very good at checking those.
No, the better the movie is, the less the chance I have of seeing that notification up at the top that says you're trying to get in. So just something to keep in mind. I have gotten better about it, but the best bet is to be my friend on Rabbit and just join that way, so you don't have to wait for me to let you in. But yeah, if you haven't come, the movie night, we'd love to have you. We have a great time. We have a pretty
rule that we have is mics go off during the movie.
yes.
Yep.
That's it.
That is
That's
the
it.
big rule. That's
Before the
only
movie,
rule.
we can have mics on. We can all chat to each other. We like to
same
keep the
after.
camera on so we can kind of see each other's reactions, but the mic is off so we can enjoy the
Or
movie.
if people can call you out for falling asleep, because God forbid you sleep after a 24-hour
yes,
stream.
yes, God forbid, during John Wick, no less. It's not allowed to happen. So then, then you can call people out for adjusting their camera so you can't see their face anymore. Slot. But no,
or
it's,
just accuse them of falling asleep.
yeah. But it's a lot of fun. We've got a small but loyal group of people that I really appreciate show up and hang out. Would love to have more. I think typically a Rabbit Room can actually hold up to 20 people, 24 people. So we'd love to have you guys if you want to join. Anyone's welcome.
Yeah,
if we ever
absolutely.
run into the issue of not having enough people for a room, that's a good problem to have, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So
Absolutely.
yep.
It's a lot of fun. We all hang out. We have fun. We make fun of each other. It's good times.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's all we have. Once again, we'll do one more call out here for questions. I do know anyone that's going to be up late tonight, right after this Twitch crew, I am going to have a little bit of a special on the go stream. It'll be like my first time doing that. Gonna meet up with a Twitch crew member. So anyone who wants to tune into that,
Oh, I forgot
follow the
about
page.
this.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It should be pretty cool.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. So, but more importantly, if anyone's got any more questions for us, who is Eddie's special guest, and when are you playing Airbud? Airbud, probably.
We'll play
never.
Airbud when you show up.
Yeah, that's right. And my special guest, you have to tune in to see who. That's
Yeah.
surprises. That's what surprises are for. I have a question. What all did I miss tonight? Well, Rogue
All
Dorito,
the
I
things.
touched all the things. I touched on gaming news. Musi touched on what's going on, what's coming up next month with the whole community,
Twitch
the getting rid
changes.
of the community. The communities are going away. Twitch tags are becoming a thing. Slot had some really awesome social media 401 for us. And always remember, you can always go back and watch the VOD as well.
And you can always reach out to us if you have questions once this is over. It's not like Q&A ends once we end this stream. If you have questions about Twitch changes, you can direct it at Musi since she knows a little bit about it. Gaming news, social media, or any other questions regarding the community can be directed at any mods. Question time does not end because the stream is over.
Correct.
Feel free to reach out for anything.
IO. That's your answer. You can't trigger. You
IO.
can't do that to me.
Oh, wait,
You know I have to
child.
you don't have to respond every single time. So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
I
my
agree.
God, yes, I
We're
agree.
gonna do more spooky movies.
I agree
Maggie?
with Luchamet that we need to watch Brink because that's the greatest Disney chat decom ever.
Brink. Oh, I've heard of it.
Brink was such a good decom.
Oh, very sweet. Very sweet. But yeah, that's all we have. Baggy's got a raid in store. I'm Eddie Nines. She is now Slot, just rebanded.
I am
no longer
Slot.
I'm not a
I'm
Slot.
just
It's just Slot.
Slot.
She's Music Show. This is a Twitch Crew production. We love you guys. We'll see you next Saturday.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya. Have a good time.